Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11. Of course, we're playing as Japan, but we're also checking out, seeing what is going on in Europe. Mostly just fighting out here in the desert. Looks like maybe some minor naval actions going on, subs. Don't know if that's, what's that exactly. Submarine anti-aircraft, very good. A very stupid thing, but very good. Just avoid the damn aircraft. That's what the Germans learned. Don't try to fight it. But it is an effective tech to have, but just in real life it doesn't work. Well, we have a bunch of heavy artillery brigades on islands, so let's get that increased. And slight movement. Well, how interesting. They're moving all these guys away. Maybe because of this? No, that's now gone, but that may be why they're moving them. I don't always get what the AI is doing and why. They still at war? Yep. Okay, heavy anti-aircraft armament advances for armament for ships and allows research of anti-air cruisers. Okay, that could be an interesting thing. So we will stop that. Anti-air cruiser. Okay, that'll be good. Maybe we'll make some of those. Pair those with some carriers and whatnot to help protect them. Nav pilot training. Okay. Yeah, that would be useful. Ground attack penalties reduced. 4-engine bomber crew layout. Oh no. Here. Okay. Again, this helps nav, air, and flying boats, so we're going to let that continue. Oh, thank you. We have got a fairly big stack of units up here, as we can see, mountain and light infantry types getting ready to move down through here. And we have even more back there, so yeah. Okay, supply transportation advance, and that very much will affect that back there. And amphibious light armor, that goods allows construction of special purpose light armor. Maybe, but let's look at other things first. And anti-tank upgrade. Okay, that's grayed out. That's going to be grayed out. Arc rolling artillery barrages, that's something that would be useful. Japan really didn't have the ammunition to do those. Not in any overall general sense. And quite honestly, they probably didn't have the coordinated command and control for that. As well. And we can see a big stack of units there, fine. We've got our radar that's sort of kind of looking around here a bit. Okay, still not gotten all of that. Oh, more upgrades. Don't need so much reinforcements. And armored car designs, okay. Oh, that was this one, okay. Yeah, now we'll do mobile. Keeping up with some of that. Okay. Teishin Shudan raiding group was a Japanese Special Forces airborne unit during World War II. The unit was a divisional level force and was part of the Imperial Japanese Army Air Force. The Teishin units were therefore distinct from the Marine parachute units of the Special Naval Landing Forces. Interesting, as of course I've talked about the separation, and it really was. And I guess, you know, because as I talk about this, I always think, yeah, you know, the America's different, because I always perceive the Air Force as the Air Force as opposed to the U.S. Army Air Corps or the U.S. Army Air Force or the U.S. Army Air Forces. But much more practically, they were, and they did get their independence after World War II. But it's also, I think, with America, not just my post-war prejudice, meaning that I view things, you know, as they sort of are now and project backwards, but it's also the scale of the situation where the Army Air Corps very much operated in the Pacific, but it was put under, at least some of the units were put under, and it depended, under the Navy. I mean, they were still, all the chain of command was all through the Army, and it was a chain of command. I don't know, I was going to say unlike Japan, but I don't know Japan. It was its own sort of chain of command through the Army Air Forces, and you know, the officers wouldn't bounce back and forth between a, you know, an infantry company and an, you know, a squadron group or something like that. No, they were different. You know, so that was all separate. But under various operational levels, not training again, but under operational levels, for the ones that were operating sort of in this area were all under the Navy. And so that includes the ones coming out of Saipan and Guam up here to raid there. Now, the ones under MacArthur, that's all under Army Command. And naval units, as you get more over here, this way, you know, if I draw a line like this, and over this side is Navy. This side is Army. So if you have naval air units assigned here, they are again under, you know, sort of operational command, strategic command, whatever, of the Army. And so that's how that division. So we see that, but it's a lot less cooperation. And when Curtis LeMay wants to do his bombing campaigns against Japan, he is put, well, yeah, sure, but do what the Nimitz wants, you know, you're under Nimitz's command. So he's doing this stuff, and then Nimitz is saying, I need the air bases hit. I need the air bases hit, because a lot of his bombers could come up so high that Japanese fighter planes couldn't get up and get to them. But they could strike at Navy vessels. And so he does that for a brief time. And he sort of complains back up the chain of command is, I could be doing much more important stuff bombing factories. It'd be much, you know, more war-winning to bombing factories. And it goes up to the chain of command because he's very high and it's not that many steps up, and the word comes down, do what Nimitz says. Okay, so he then very much embraces doing what Nimitz says, because he's told to do what Nimitz says, even if he wants to do the job well. It's not, you know, it's not that he doesn't like bombing air bases. He just thinks, if I bomb factories, they can't build planes to fly them. But it was more of an immediate thing. And after doing it for another like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that, Nimitz goes, yeah, done. We think you've destroyed not just the air bases, but enough of the fighters and bombers that are, hidden in the forest near the air bases or whatever. You've done enough damage that you don't need to keep doing this, because the Navy is also flying from the carriers attacking these air bases too. The Navy had been doing that very aggressively as well. They just wanted the Air Force to come in. And so, and because Nimitz isn't against him doing his own, strategic bombing. It just, he needed this done now. And so most of the time, for at least the under Curtis LeMay's command, strategic bombing, Curtis LeMay is doing his own thing. It's, so it's very much, that's why I get this impression of the Air Force being not an army organization, but being its own organization, because that whole strategic bombing campaign has nothing to do with what the Army's doing, meaning the Army is in, like, taking the Philippines, or the Army divisions that are, fighting in Okinawa or something. Very much not that. And that's also the, like the 8th Air Force that's bombing Germany is, not coordinating it with the rest of the Army, because there's no point. It's only once that, they're getting in the immediate build up to the D-Day invasions, and they do more than just here to keep the Germans guessing, is starting to, bomb stuff in preparations for what the Army is going to do. And then once they were sort of blocked in, they did have some major bomb raids in which they went like this instead of like this. They went like this, so that if the bombs fell short or long, it was still going to be on German positions and not, released too early and hit Allied positions. So this way they would, fly outside of the corridor just to try to wreck the, not front line, but sort of near front line, the level of where the artillery units are, and immediate sort of rear areas of the ally, or the axis here. That was done to support the Army's operation. But then this 8th Air Force basically goes back to its own thing, entirely separate. And periodically, to get funding and permission and other things, they go, well, what can we do to help the Navy? The Allies did invade. How interesting. How interesting. They sent in a free French French commando unit that had gone over to the British, and some more units there. So how interesting. How stupid, but how interesting. It used to be, and I don't know how many of you played it, but I got in the habit of guarding every single one of my ports, because no matter what, if the port was open, the British would invade. And I could just sit back here. I could say, leave Calais open. Set a bunch of units here. They would come in, invade, big stack units, kill them. Come in, invade, kill them. Just wreck the British Army. It was just so stupid, so like, making the game so easy to play, because they would send all their forces there instead of North Africa or some other place, and just make these stupid invasions that I would just sort of put enough force, and they would still try to invade, but at least when the invasion failed and they lost organization, they'd go back home. It was just because, again, stupid AI. And when they worked to fix that, that was with For Their Motherland. And that's when I started playing, so I don't know what was going before. But when they fixed that for Their Finest Hour, and they largely did. Now, I don't know why they felt they needed to do this, but when they fixed that, they then made it so that, and I'm surprised here that they've done this, but that it's so rare to see an Allied invasion, even when we have huge stacks of units. And even if it's could be fairly well defended here, once you're at war with the Soviet Union, it actually makes sense to do attacks. So, yeah. So I often again see the Air Force as separate in the U.S. sense, and it very much was separate in the British sense. I don't know, quite honestly, about France. I presume it's separate, and not just a sub-element of the army. But and I didn't know that specifically that the Japanese, because I knew that there was sort of a para unit that was like out of the naval landing forces, but So we have another force of parachutists. We built 2 divisions. Oh, too far, too far, too far. There we are. Okay, so we have that. Very interesting. Okay, so we need a headquarters. We need a headquarters. Build one. We need airborne engineers. Build one. That may be good enough. Just to give it some more punch, as it were. This is where you're getting duplication of effort. I have no idea whether, you know, they cross-trained at all, or if they continued the, you know, completely separate, you know, never talking to the other units, like I do know that the Japanese did in many of the cases, you know. Naval Fighter Command never talk, literally almost never talking to Army Fighter Command. Now they might if they're both talking to each other, if they're both operating out of the same airbase or something. But at higher command and organization levels, from what I've read, they just did not communicate with each other. So if they were maybe organizing up, you know, a particular raid that they're both going on, they would talk to each other. But just tactics and training and whatnot was just sorely badly. We're going to keep that going. We're going to have really good fighters. They're just sorely lacking with the Japanese coordination between the Army and the Navy. And of course you get other silly things like in Germany where you have Luftwaffe ground divisions and that kind of thing. And that was much more political, and that Goering didn't want to give up his personnel, but they needed him on the front, and it's sort of like, okay, well, you can have Luftwaffe units, you know, instead of just turning the men over to the Army. Which would have made more sense. Oh yeah, those are for the units out in the far west. I gotta be careful of my terminology here. So we want to put those on board ship and move them out. Don't know if there'll be enough of those. Maybe they're here is what I'm looking for, though, these guys. I wanted to see what else. I have motorcycle reconnaissance, so that's alright. Okay. Even if they all don't get them, some of them will, so that good enough, more or less. And I don't know, we'll have one for that one. Oh no, I wanted those for hold it. I wanted those for all of these units. That's what I wanted these for. To get the combined arms there. So we're gonna go on a 5-hour cruise or something around rebase. Go around dropping off one HQ regiment per decent division type thing. Okay, air defense network. That's gonna really help out, especially with provincial effectiveness. Where is that? Oh, is that under here? And we're gonna let that go. You can see just one level of that. Reduction in build time, great, and just a little bit, but manpower, yeah, and supplies is using it, but 20% in provincial AA efficiency, radar efficiency 1%, radar impact 1%, repair rate up 2%, air intercept plus 1%, so that really will help a lot of capabilities. Oh, good. I often do that, make something like those HQ units and sort of forget what I was making them for by the time they get deployed. Yep, see, the Germans took them out. Okay, they're there for some reason, don't know why. To be picked up, to be supplied. Now, maybe they just figured we got enough units here. But if they have enough units there, they're not attacking. They can get their transports together somehow. Attack in the south, that'd be lovely. Okay, there's 4 liners. Now we move something along to escort them. What's up here? What's here? Okay, well, they could escort them with subs or something. Do an invasion down here, that'd be very useful. And remember, the AI can do invasions from liners where we can't as humans. Okay, fighter ground control advanced. Very nice, very nice. Okay, that's grayed out. Fire solution control system. Basically that mechanical computer that you put in the details of your target and it tells you how far to lead and how far, you know, what to aim your gun at. Naval base efficiency, refining efficiency, WU supply throughput, and yeah, we'll do logistical warfare. And single engine fighter prototype has advanced, very good, and is grayed out, but that's now pushing it. F41, which we're getting there, it's in October. But we are doing well. I think we're still building. I mean, obviously, somebody wants to pay attention to that. We're building up there, but mountain unit training, good. But we're very slowly growing our army, which is the main use of officers. But ships and air units use it as well, and so we're not having combat losses, which is also helpful. Defense report, yes, excellent. Minor breakthrough, yes. One of those. Okay, good. We're already into doing the air bases. Now, oh, we didn't do that. We sent them up. We sent a transport here. Yes. Okay, let's grab just 2 of these. Put them on a transport. Wrong transport. Unmount. Okay. Otherwise, they'll keep sticking them on the wrong. Well, maybe I should just move the damn slow ships somewhere else. Yeah, that'll be the thing. We'll move the slow ships somewhere else. where do we want slow transports? Down here. Don't know why, other than it may be close to where we're wanting to. Let them get out of port. Fully out of port. No. Special Forces Unit Combined Arms thing. I think that is here, yeah. We can start doing that. Okay, now they're out of port. Now if I just grab 2 of these guys, drop it on there. There we go. That's the one we want. And we will send it down here because there were 2 divisions that we want to rebase. 2 divisions down here that had HQs that we could use somewhere else, and we could put in the more cool historical symbol thingies instead. Okay, battle cruiser armor. I think that's last one we're doing there for a while, or maybe ever. Okay, 4-engine bomb bay advance. Okay, it's helping that. We'll continue there. Okay, I guess now is when or maybe even before now, but we should get on this. So let's do that. Let's make sure we get oil and rare materials and other things all done up. Okay, armor plating for these guys, a one and done, so we don't have to worry about that. And yes, now we'll move over to these. These take also a long time. So that going, and we'll get steel and coal and whatnot. Oh, look. Haven't been watching down here, but Italy is now really sort of losing because they just don't have the supply. I think it's primarily a supply issue and not entirely, though maybe partially, a quality issue. And oh good, now we're seeing some, well, Paulus, some German units down here fighting, so that will help them. Help Italy, probably push them out, but maybe not in enough time to save all the units and whatnot down in Ethiopia. And I don't know if the AI is good enough to retake all that or not. I don't know. Okay, twin-engine airframes. That's grayed out. I'm actually surprising how much research we have and how well we're doing. I did not expect this, but yeah, let's come here. And yes, we can use coal processing. Or we could use, nah. Yeah, coal processing next, I think. Fuel? Okay. We got plenty of fuel right now. I still would like to build up more money. Let's see, they're already here, and we two of these guys left before, not even in the neighborhood. Okay, so let's get you out. Actually, we should yeah, let's move the whole so it all fits with the right name and description. Oh, well, no, not you. And this one and this one. Oh, this way. Let's look at these generals. Okay, I guess that's fine. So, you disconnect. Get on board. Okay. Disconnect. Get on board. Yeah, you can come to rebase to there. And you can go back here just to be ready to move something else further forward. And yes, they're there. Okay, medium fuel tank, which of course allows us to start researching all of that. But since we're going down this, let's get this going now. Because having better prototypes of something that we're not going to use for a year is not quite the term useless, but not overly useful. Okay, now we have the combined arms. Not great, but we have it. Well, let's first move these guys somewhere else, and if we have any left over, we'll come back and maybe add that to there. No, that's not worthy. That's worthy of a headquarters, so rebase. And deep battle doctrine, and yeah, that's too far advanced, I gather. Okay, now we've done that, we've got all of these, so we can come over here and do flying boat prototypes. Yay! I just think flying boats are cool. What I really like about flying boats is their versatility. I mean, even if I was some rich guy, you know, like super rich guy, and owned my own big jet kind of thing or something, I'd want to. And there is actually a modern flying boat jet out that made in Russia. And they did make some, or they do make. They still make them. They're fairly modern. They're not too huge. But if I was, you know, going to have my own big nice jet to fly around the world or something, and you know, if I'd won the big super lottery at $1 billion+ or something, don't know if that would quite be enough to get one. But if I got one, I get one of these flying boats, and like I was saying, they did. See, I know too much about too many different things. Can get Western. There was one model, big Western modern jet engine to put on them instead of the Russian ones. I'd probably just do that for maintenance issues of the engines. But really nice, and they sort of tout them and have loaned them at times to like do water drops for some of the major forest fires in Greece or whatever. But they're Russian made, and they're a modern jet flying boat, or you know, amphibious. They also have, you know, regular landing wheels to do that. It just opens up so many more places you can land, as well as you know, regular landing fields. That's just why I really like flying boats. Just land, just go anywhere. So, you know, you want to like go on a fishing trip somewhere in remote Philippines. You know, do you fly into the main international airport and then take another little plane and then take a boat right out there? No, you just fly in and land wherever you want to go, kind of thing. Just be cool. Amphibious ship defense, okay. And of course, you know, obviously you can have catastrophic problems with an airplane. But you can also have, because you know we've seen, I remember the one that was leaving, was it out of Boston or something, I think, Egypt Air flight, whatever, that blows up in midair, and then, you know, pieces rain down into the water. Obviously you can have that, but then you have that Hudson, the flight that lands in the Hudson out of New York, you know, that he has a bird strike into one of the jet engines or something, and knows that he's, you know, going down, so he lands in the water, and then everybody gets off fine, you know, and he's a big hero because of that. But you can have other problems just flying along, and depending on the situation and depending on the aircraft, again, I'm no expert, but a lot of times, you know, even if your engines stop, you can still, you know, if you still have some sort of, and depends on the type of aircraft. I know older ones you could still do it because they were wire. You know, you can still fly that aircraft. It's just, you know, no more power. So, you know, if you can fly it right, you can bring it down to land. Normally, though, as you come into land, there's not a good place to land, so you crash into something. Now, maybe it's not going very fast, and you sort of do it okay, but jets normally need to go fairly fast because they're big and heavy, and the wings aren't too big because they're relying upon all that jet thrust to keep them up there. So just landing them, you know, any old random spot normally means a crash. And if they have lots of fuel, now if you sort of know it, you may be able to dump the fuel, but still, you know, but hey, if you're, you know, flying a lot of places in the world, you know, if you're, you know, or even other places, you might be able to find a, you know, a major river or lake or something to land on. So yeah, that's why I just think flying boats are cool. Okay. So we have that. Okay, so short barrel guns, getting closer to better support tanks. Maybe. Well, let's come over here and do medium bombers. Oh no, normal. Did they screw me up? No, good, everything's right. You don't want that. I wish that wasn't so close, because you can do that, hit that thing, and not realize why your AI is being wacky. Okay, well, we've gotten through all of our stuff, and I've got to make some more decisions, whether that's more fighters, more subs, more ground units, more air bases. Once we get them, AA cruisers, probably build some of those just to put with things, but I'm going to decide that off camera and later. So we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you for liking the videos. I do appreciate that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd love for you to tell a friend about the channel, how great it is. If you know, Facebook, Twitch, some other thing that I'm not aware of because I'm not 20 years old and know all of the social media stuff. Maybe put it into your LinkedIn profile. Why that if you want to, you know, like you or something, they should watch this channel. Do that, and of course, I also love hearing from you. So send me a, you know, post a message down below. Question, comment, suggestion, correction. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.